What's up, guys? This is so weird because there's like 10 people in here and on this mic. But I was here last week and I told my story. Who was here? All right, cool. So I'm gonna touch. It's kind of going to be touched on a little bit of what I talked about, but my topic tonight is practicing spiritual principles in all of your affairs, all in all capital letters. I'm gonna start it out by just saying this prayer real quick. So. It says, Lord, make me a channel of thy peace, that where there is hatred, I may bring love, that where there is wrong, I may bring the spirit of forgiveness, that where there is discord, I may bring harmony, that where there is error, I may bring truth, that where there is doubt, I may bring faith, that where there is despair, I may bring hope, that where there are shadows, I may bring light, that where there is sadness, I may bring joy. Lord, grant that I may seek rather than comfort, rather to comfort than be comforted, to understand than to be understood, to love than to be loved. For it is by self-forgetting that one finds, it is by forgiving that one is forgiven, and it is by dying that one awakens to eternal life. So, that prayer is that prayer is something that I read just about every day. That's like my morning prayer. So with that being said, that prayer right there is pretty much the last thing you do before you go out and you start helping other people, without breaking any kind of traditions or anything. But most recovery programs that you may do, that is considered the 11th step prayer. Okay, so that's what you do, and then you take that mindset out into the world and you start to help other people to get them on their feet. And this is cutting out. Check. Yeah, there we go. So no, I say that to mention that there was nothing in that prayer that said anything about drugs. And there was nothing in that prayer that said, you do all these things while you're in treatment. You do all these things while you're in a certain setting of recovery. You do these things only towards a certain demographic. It just says that this is how you're supposed to think. It doesn't put any limitations on it. It doesn't give you any certain direction, because there is no certain path that you're supposed to take. It's just wherever you go, you're supposed to bring this mindset, right? And I talked about it last week when I shared my story, talking about how so many times in the past I had failed because I used to come into places like this, and these treatment centers and these detoxes, and I used to just have this misconception that as long as I remove the drugs, everything else is fine. Like, I just have a drug issue. I have a substance abuse problem. And that's all my problems. That's where everything lies. So with that being said, like, the importance of this is that a recovery process is deeper than just stop doing the drugs. That's the first step in your recovery. But when you go out there into the world after you've gotten the drugs out of your system and you start to reintegrate with society, I think one of the biggest things is that I don't want to be known as just a person that doesn't drink or drug. I don't know about you guys, you know what I mean? Like, but that's how I feel, right? Like, what is it that defines me as a human being? When I die, is the only thing people are going to say at my funeral is, well, I'm glad he didn't drink and drug anymore. But I have more. Share that. I have more of a purpose. I have more of a purpose as a human being. And so much in the past, all of my purpose was centered around myself. What can I do for me? How can I get ahead? How can I get all the money? How can I get all the things? How can I get all the praise? Right? But one of the things I realized is that with that thinking, when I would go to die, I would die alone, because my whole life was centered around me, and centered around the things that I want, and the things that I want to do. And I wouldn't share them with anybody. And that's why it's so important to all these principles you're going to learn through this process, through a recovery process, through religion, through meditation, through prayer, through a spiritual walk. All of these things are meant to prepare you to go out into the world, into any setting, and to be that light that shines when it's dark. Because it's real easy to go blend in a room with a bunch of people that are all happy, joyous, free, giving hugs, saying I love you, and to just blend in. Because as addicts and alcoholics, we do that anyway. We're chameleons. I know me personally, I could sit in church on a Sunday and be Mr. Church Guy and get out and go hang out with a bunch of drug dealers and blend in with them perfectly. And so when you can go into an environment where everybody's not doing the right thing, where everybody's not happy, joyous, and free, and where everybody is not showing love, and you can be that one person that moves different, what it's going to do is it's going to entice people to come up to you and say, why are you different than everybody else? And then that's when you can say, well, this is how I did it. And if you want to do it this way, I can show you. You know what I mean? So that's why I always tell people, whenever I work with anybody, I always tell them, like, you have to practice these principles in all of your affairs, in everything. If people only practice these things while they were in settings like this, there wouldn't be people in this room right now. Because the real stuff that's happening is out there. You know what I mean? The people are dying out there. The bad neighborhoods, the neighborhoods where you have, the dad beating the mom, and you have the people taking advantage of women, and you have people lying and cheating and stealing. If you don't have a good person that once in a while comes across their path, no one gets saved. And that's the purpose of practicing these principles in all your affairs. Is that good? Cool? Good time? All right, bang.